I cannot even begin to tell you how crazy this game was for my league. In the Flock League, it came down to less than 1 point scored in this game in terms of points for on this season of who got in the playoffs. Hopefully, if anything happened like that in your league, you fell on the right side of it. Obviously, we'll talk about everything that happened in this game. We'll update the rankings if we need to, and you will see, I swear to God, the craziest ending in Flock League history on the Flock League video tomorrow. Like I can't even begin to describe, but let's go ahead and let's look at everything. Jalen Hurts, horrible day, right? Not only the 4 interceptions, not only the fact that he doesn't score a touchdown, but also with Jalen Hurts, he gives you a fumble as well after one of the interceptions, having -4 points on a single play. So Jalen Hurts not looking great right now, ladies and gentlemen. And to be honest with y'all, I think we are going to have to go ahead and we're probably going to need to move Jalen Hurts down our ranks in comparison to some of these other quarterbacks. Like, I honestly think that at this time, I would probably prefer Burrow. I'd probably prefer Dak. And honestly, I may prefer Matthew Stafford because Hurts does have a pretty tough schedule for the fantasy playoffs. It's not a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. So I think we are going to move Jalen Hurts down to QB7. He was still averaging 20.5 fantasy points per game coming into this. He was still the QB3 in points per game coming into this contest. So I don't necessarily think that Hurts is unstartable by any means. Obviously, it sucks if you needed him to get into the fantasy playoffs and he did this for you. But I would still start Jalen Hurts if I had him in the fantasy playoffs. I would just lower expectations. Now, moving over to our next position. Looking at what we have at running back, Saquon Barkley was what in our rankings rest of season here? He was RB12. The big thing that happens in this game is you actually have the big rushing touchdown for Barkley. First one in a long time. I don't necessarily think that this vaults up Barkley that much higher. He's the same player that he's been all year. This offensive line's banged up. I think based off the Samaje Perine usage in Cincinnati, now that Perine's back, I have Barkley on my own team. I probably wouldn't trade him for Chase Brown, but can't really move Barkley up higher than like RB11. Then going over, looking at the pass catchers, A.J. Brown, very clearly the wide receiver one in this offense. Now pretty much seeing all the volume. This is his 4th straight game with double-digit targets. Honestly, I am going to move A.J. Brown ahead of both T. Higgins and Drake London on our rankings after this game, knowing that Drake London did miss practice today, and it seems like he may miss on Thursday. And then looking over towards Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith was averaging over 13 points per game coming into this one. He had 8 targets. He did nothing for the vast majority of the game, right? But I will say that he falls in this range of guys. Yeah, probably go ahead and start him every single week. Now, Ladd McConkey is about to get absolutely nuked. And then with Dallas Goedert, I started him on my own team this week. I had him at tight end 8 coming into this. I probably should put him back over Aronde Gadsden, maybe in this tier with Kelsey, Jake Ferg. I mean, Goddard had been averaging 11.1 fantasy points per game. And if this team's going to continue to throw the ball a decent amount, like Jalen Hurts had 40 pass attempts in this, Goddard's going to see some volume. And then nobody else is interesting. And yes, this is also a very good point here that T. Higgins is yet again in concussion protocol. So honestly, Higgins may need to fall down our ranks based off what we get news-wise tomorrow. Now, going over to the Chargers offense. This is where I feel like things maybe change a little bit more. Crazy that Herbert was this injured, yet still running the ball like a madman. And some of these were designed runs near the end of the game as well. Like, I honestly didn't expect Herbert to really even be playing here. I had Justin Herbert ranked QB 15 in our rest of season ranks. I would honestly probably prefer him over Bo Nix after a performance like this. And then with Tristan Wirfs banged up, I'd probably rather have him over Baker Mayfield. But I do prefer Jacoby Brissett, probably still. And then going to the running back utilization, Kamani Vidal technically leads this team when it comes to carries with 14 in comparison to Marion Hampton with 13. Kamani Vidal also leads this team with 60 receiving yards. But these were the expectations with Amari Hampton's first week back in. The expectation should be Amari Hampton plays much more next week. Hampton got the red zone role, which is also the most important. So Amari Hampton is going to be a must-start running back every single week going into the future. In my opinion, I do not think you can start Kamani Vidal ever again outside of if Amari Hampton gets injured again. So we have Amari Hampton as our running back 14 rest of season. I'm going to keep him there because, again, I do think that he expands his role, and this was more so a one-off week for Kamani Vidal with Hampton back in. And then I don't know if this was a factor of the Justin Herbert injury. I don't know if this is a factor of the Philadelphia Eagles defense being incredible. But once Herbert went down, if y'all go back to our rest of season rankings 2 weeks ago, y'all have seen that we had nuked Ladd McConkey to a point where you couldn't start him. And then once Herbert was playing this game, I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. Maybe we need to change our tune with Ladd McConkey. But no, I mean, I think with this Herbert injury, limiting this passing offense, I think we're going to go ahead. I'm nuking Ladd McConkey. Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston were already in a range of players that you couldn't start. And for me at this point, I think I would put Ladd McConkey right around Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, more so as a mid wide receiver 3. Now, let's see. And then people saying Kamani Vidal looked better than Amari Hampton. Yeah, I mean, obviously Kamani Vidal had a 60-yard reception, but we need to be honest with each other, ladies and gentlemen. We can't, in my opinion, just overreact from one game and go, oh, Kamani Vidal looked really good in this. Let's assume that Kamani Vidal is the running back 1 for the Los Angeles Chargers going into the future. Amari Hampton was an elite running back prospect, went round 1 of the NFL draft. He was a bell cow level running back by the time you got to week 3 of his NFL career. The team just invested their first round pick into him. Kamani Vidal, on the other hand, was a running back that went in the 6th round out of Troy, filled in, and was very good as a fill-in for Amari Hampton. But do not come out here and think Kamani Vidal earned. This is not like a Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery type situation. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, obviously throwback to Green Bay. If we want to go further throwback, this isn't a Devonta Smith, Tevin Coleman. There are not 2 viable running backs here going into the future. It is Amari Hampton's backfield. Amari Hampton is the guy. It was a fun story for Kamani Vidal, but that is about it. But I cannot wait for y'all to see the Flock League video tomorrow. Again, the team getting into the playoffs, I did the math here. Let me pull it up. They got into the playoffs by, let me do this math officially again real quick. And it looked like they had a 0% chance to make it in the playoffs coming into tonight. And they got in by 0.92 points. Less than 1 point in their points for tiebreak got them into the playoffs, and it was the best result I could have hoped for. It was beautiful. So I am in an incredible mood. I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. I'm going to have a really good morning in the, tomorrow when I get to wake up and watch it. But much love, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you. And I hope you're able to make it into the playoffs. Hope your best ball teams did well. My underdog teams are printing, which thank God for that. And yeah, again, thank you. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the live stream tomorrow night.